Hello there, and welcome to Sam Mori. My name is Sam, and in this video I want to talk about self-love and self-love practices and how self-love actually works. And some people will tell you that in order for you to feel self-love or to experience self-love, you just have to stand in front of the mirror every day and tell yourself that you love yourself. Or you have to ask yourself, whenever you make a decision, what would the person do that loves themselves? And I don't really think that these practices or these techniques work, and I will explain why as well in this video. So after watching this short video, you will know exactly why these techniques don't work or why they don't work sustainably. And you will also understand my perspective on how self-love actually can work and what's needed for it to flourish within your experience. So to start right off, we have to look at a myth that we have as human beings, which is basically that we think of ourselves as a single-minded being, like this one personality that moves through this experience and every experience that we have, and then we have our feelings, our thoughts, and our opinions about things, and it's all somehow congruent and coherent in one single personality. And then there are some things that are kind of off, kind of irrational behavior, some feelings that we can't comprehend or understand why they are there or why we're reacting in a certain way. But over the whole picture, we're thinking of ourselves as being this one single-minded being. And this just isn't true. Because if we look at ourselves, what we actually are, or what you actually are, to be way more precise, it's actually the space or the room in which all these reactions, these feelings, these thoughts, these opinions are appearing. So when I'm talking about you, what I mean is way more the thing that holds this all together. And it's really hard to grasp what this is, but just assume that there is this thing that holds it all together, and this is the you. And what's happening in this you and in this space is actually a whole bunch of subpersonalities and parts that are jammed together and that are forming relationships between themselves and having this network of personalities within yourself that are quite independent from each other and that are acting from their own agenda and from their own motivations and trying to achieve their goals. And so we can understand feelings or reactions that we have, not just in a sense of, oh, now I am reacting to this situation in this certain way, but actually there's a subpersonality within me that is reacting to this situation in a certain way. And this is a game changer for understanding ourselves, our internal experience, and also understanding the phenomena of self-love. And I want to give you an example so it gets more clear for you. So let's take me as an example. So not long ago, when I was moving in social groups, I felt a lot of insecurity actually when I was interacting with other people. And I didn't understand why I felt so insecure, but I noticed I'm feeling totally insecure as soon as I get in contact with other people. And so before having this understanding that there are different subpersonalities within my system that are actually having their own experience and that are trying to achieve their own goals, I would just have two options with this insecurity. And first would be I just accept it. And I basically put it into the foreground and I'm saying like, oh, I'm this insecure person and I can't be in social interactions that much. And I would kind of like let this insecurity run the show and maybe pull back from social interactions or whatever is needed in order for this insecurity to feel more safe, or me to feel more safe with this insecurity. This would be the option of accepting it, like, oh, it's just there, there's nothing I can do about it. The other option that I have is rejecting the feeling of insecurity and just suppressing it and just going into social interactions anyways and acting as if I wouldn't be insecure, which isn't true, of course, and it's a great deal of energy that I need in order to suppress this insecurity all of the times. And so both of these ways aren't really connected to a state of self-love or love in general, because one is just, okay, it's there's nothing I can do about it, but it's not cool because I really want to interact with other people, or just rejecting it and then excluding a part of myself that is there as well. And so the understanding of subpersonalities brings in this whole new perspective where I can see, oh, it's not me that is insecure, because if I'm not in social interactions with other people, I'm not actually feeling insecure. So this insecurity is just triggered by the situation of social interactions. And so what's happening is that a subpersonality is actually looking for social interactions everywhere in my daily experience. And as soon as a social interaction comes up that is threatening to this part, this subpersonality of me, it will kick in and trigger insecurity within my system. And the game changer in this is, as soon as I'm able to relate to this subpersonality as a subpersonality, instead of just, oh, I'm being insecure, I can start to find out why this subpersonality is insecure and what it is insecure about and what it's trying to achieve by being insecure. So for example, I could just take a moment from my daily life, not in social situations, but just for myself, and explore this feeling. And I think of, oh, this situation where I was in this social interaction and I had this insecurity, and I can just look at what's happening in my body. And maybe my belly is tensing up, or my mind is racing, or my legs getting shaky, for example. These are all signs and the symptoms of this subpersonality taking hold of my system. And then I can relate to this part and see, like, how am I feeling with this subpersonality, with this insecurity in this present moment? Like, what's going on? How do I feel towards it? And then maybe I'm angry about it because I really want to relate with other people, and I really have this need to relate to other people. So I'm really pissed that this insecurity comes up. And then the being pissed is actually another subpersonality. It's not me, because what I am, what you are, what we are all of the time is the space that holds all of these experiences. So even the being pissed and the anger is in itself actually a subpersonality that is again functioning within me as an almost independent force and really wants to have its own say. And for example, this being pissed probably wants to have me be in social situations and social interactions and want me to connect with other people, and is really pissed about this insecurity because it makes it impossible to do so. And so again, I can relate and I can see, oh, there's this pissedness. How do I feel towards that? How is it to be with this being pissed? And what becomes possible is that when you start to de-identify from these subpersonalities within you, from being insecure in my case now, looking at it, oh, I'm being insecure, this subpersonality is being insecure. Oh, I'm really pissed about it. Oh, there's a part that is really pissed about it. When I do this, at one point when I ask myself this question, how do I feel towards this? How do I feel towards this this situation, this experience that I have in this present moment? Whoops. There will come a time or a point within your experience where you will hit ground. And ground will be, you will find you, which is the space that holds all of this experience. And there are most of the times there are qualities like curiosity, compassion, calmness, peace, all of these qualities that just suddenly pop up within your experience when you are doing this de-identification process within yourself from these subpersonalities. You will find the place where self-love and compassionate understanding for the things that are happening within you is actually a byproduct. It's not something that you have to work towards, but actually it's something that you can rediscover within your system, and it's always present, it's always there. And what's happening is that actually these subpersonalities are layering on top of this experience. And then what your experience, because this is happening so much beyond our daily awareness most of the times, it's just, I'm moving into this situation, for example, I'm moving into a social interaction, and suddenly I'm feeling really pissed and I'm feeling really unhappy with myself because there's this conflict within myself. One part really is insecure and really feels threatened by this social interaction, and the other part feels really pissed because I really want to be in social interactions. So then what I'm experiencing is actually two parts conflicting within myself. And if I'm not de-identified from this and seeing it from the space that I am, holding this experience, then what I will experience is not self-love. What I will be experiencing is being really unhappy with myself. And so this is why I say that these self-love practices or techniques, they don't really work. Because when you look at it that way, if we have these subpersonalities within ourselves, and I'm standing in front of the mirror and I'm telling myself, I love myself, to whom am I speaking? To whom am I saying I love myself? Because if I'm not this like single-minded being, then if I say I love myself, there will be a couple of parts that will be activated by this. And one will be believing it, one wants to believe it, one is really pissed about you having to say you love yourself. Like there's so much stuff going on there. And the question is it really landing? Is your I love myself, is it really landing for these parts? Because you are self-love. At the deepest fundamental level of your self-nature, you already are self-love. And the question is it, are the parts, the subpersonalities that do not feel this self-love, are they reached by you telling yourself, I love myself? So this is the big question. And in my experience, it's not landing because we really have to form relationship with these parts. So this is the second step actually of this self-love process, we could call it. One is de-identifying from the parts so that you can realize yourself as being this compassionate, loving, embracing, open, curious space that you always are. And then from this place, you want to form relationship with these subpersonalities within yourself. For example, the insecure part of mine. If I can come from a place of curiosity and openness and I can ask it, why are you being so insecure? Why are you producing this insecurity? What's your aim? Like, what do you try to achieve? And coming from a place where I actually honor this part instead of judging it, this part will probably open up to me and tell me exactly why it's doing this. And for example, for me it was that this insecure part, or this part that was producing insecurity, was actually scared that I would do stupid stuff in front of people and then I would be ridiculed for that, because this part also experienced that in the past, that I did this. And so it really wanted to protect me from this happening ever again. And it did this by creating insecurity so that I would move away from social interactions and not even have the chance to do stupid stuff in front of other people. And so by understanding why this subpersonality is doing this, the compassion becomes even greater, because now I can comprehend, oh, I'm feeling insecure because this part really wants the best for me. It really wants to protect me. And maybe it's not so skillful in protecting me, because now there's not so much of a chance for me to really be hurt, even if I do stupid stuff in front of people. But in the past, that really was the case. And this part really tries to protect me from ever feeling the same hurt again that I had experienced in the past. And so for me, there's self-love is flowing not just from being self-love, being this experience of openness and calm, but actually this love can also flow to this part, and I can really honor and appreciate this part for what it's doing, even though it's not constructive in my adult life now. But I can start to understand and form a relationship with it. And even with a relationship, just as I would be relating to another person, I can work with this person, this subpersonality within me, in order to find out a way that is better. To find out a way where I don't really need to feel insecure, because maybe we find a way where this subpersonality can start to trust me as being this open space of self-love already. And maybe I can let go of this role, of this extreme role of protecting myself. And so this is the second step, so to speak, in this process of self-love, is to actually relate to these parts and form a loving and respectful relationship to these parts, and find out how you can do better as the two of you. And to my mind, it's just so funny, like this whole inner family that we have, like a huge group of subpersonalities all relating to each other and all having like, well, I want to do this, no, this. And it just makes self-love so much more, like the phenomena of self-love so much more understandable, especially in my perspective, and why it's not working so often. It's because we don't relate to these subpersonalities. And if something is in the way or feels like an obstacle, like for example my insecurity, then often we just reject it and exclude it from our experience. And this part will definitely not feel loved by you doing this. And so one part of you, because it's still some part of you, will not feel loved. And so self-love will not be a part of your experience, as long as you keep rejecting parts of yourself. And also not accepting them, just like, oh, this is just who they are and I cannot change anything. In a relationship, in an intimate relationship, transformation and change becomes possible. And so does self-love for your whole experience. So you might want to try that out and start relating to some of your subpersonalities. When you notice in a situation, oh, now a reaction comes up that I don't really understand, and be curious about it and look at, oh, why is this happening? And you can just try that out. And also I want to tell you that if you want to experience this from a more guided place, I also offer sessions for exactly this process of de-identification, understanding the motives of these subpersonalities, and finding better ways of relating to them, and also relating to the outer experience, transforming the roles of these parts. So if that's something that interests you, just write me an email or go to my website. You can find it on my channel, and I'm happy to see you there in a private session. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and see you soon. Bye.